Hello and welcome to the European magazine Thought Leaders interview. I'm Juliette Foster. Now, each year, more than 14 million people rely on Curium Pharma's radiopharmaceuticals to help detect cancer, all of which places the company at the heart of modern oncology. Yet, in spite of this, the company's name is unfamiliar to many within the medical community. But all that is now about to change. Thanks to its growing pipeline of therapies that kill tumours from within, their entire value chain from proton to patient, Curium is finally stepping into the spotlight. From a name that pays tribute to Marie and Pierre Curie to a future built on theranostics and scalable innovation, this company is quietly revolutionising cancer care. Well, to find out more about Curium's past, present and its future, I'm delighted to say that I'm joined in the studio by Renaud Dehareng, who is the CEO of Curium Group. Renaud, welcome to the studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Juliette.
Let's start with the company's name. I alluded there to Pierre and Marie Curie. So how does their legacy shape the company's values?
Well, we have extremely ambitious goals in the company, and we'll talk about it a bit later in the interview, but that's treating 80% of cancer within the next 10 to 15 years. 30–40% of people in the world will be diagnosed with cancer, 10% of people will die from cancer, 90% will die from cancer with metastasis, and that's where we focus our time. That's a very, very ambitious goal. So we needed actually the name to reflect this scientific ambition, hence actually the link with Marie Curie. But also we're going to do that with radioactivity, isotope. And Curium is an isotope. So that's where the name of the company came from.
And it's a very young company as well, because it was created in 2017. But as I also said in that introduction, it is largely unknown outside medical circles. Now, is that deliberate, or do you think it's perhaps a byproduct from focusing purely on the science of treating cancer?
It is not by chance. I mean, it's first you have to have achieved something before you talk about it. And really, I mean, yeah, Curium was actually created 10 years ago, about 10 years ago. And let's just talk about Curium a little bit, what it is now, actually. Curium is now actually about 5,000 people. We do treat about 15 million people a year, so that's 35,000 every day. We operate into 60 countries. We spend hundreds of millions into research and development. But what we do for the last 10 years is really diagnostic. I mean, the first way of treating cancer is to diagnose it as early as possible and to give precise, actually, information to the physicians to treat that cancer. And nuclear medicine, which is what we do, is actually the best technology to diagnose a cancer. And so, yeah, I mean, we have achieved a lot in the last 10 years. We waited actually quite a lot of achievement before being known. But it's really just a start. And actually, we are about to revolutionize the world of the treatment of cancer now.
In very simple terms, what is that? And how does it differ from traditional cancer treatments? And I'm thinking particularly about chemotherapy or external beam radiotherapy. They sound pretty gruesome.
I would describe nuclear medicine, radioligand therapy in 3 steps. Step 1, we do understand the cancer. And a cancer is a cell, is a type of cell which is very different to the others. And what we do in particular understand in cancer is actually what's on the surface of the cancer. And we try to identify actually those little things that are very specific to the cancer. That's step 1. That's our preclinical team doing that. The second thing we do is we develop a substance, a small molecule, that when injected into the blood system goes and attach to this cell, and only to the cancer cell. So we send these tracers into the blood, and it is going to go and bind and attach on the cancer.
So it's very focused.
It's very focused. If there is no cancer, the stuff goes. If there is cancer, the stuff go and attach to it. So far, we haven't done anything to the cancer, but actually attach something to it. Step number 3 is to attach actually an isotope, a radioactive molecule, to that tracer. And now that radioactive material follow the tracers into the blood system, get basically attached to the cancer and kill it from the inside. And that's what makes it actually super specific, super targeted, and very different to the other technologies.
Because the other technologies, they basically blast everything, to put it bluntly.
That's exactly right. We do only kill cancer cell, and the one we have chosen to kill. The other technology are basically killing a lot of healthy cells.
A real breakthrough, not just for the person who's receiving the treatment, but also for families as well,
Obviously.
supporting them. Yeah.
Obviously.
But I mean, your therapies, they're also transforming the outcomes for neuroendocrine tumours,
Yes.
and of course advanced prostate cancer, which you mentioned before. So what is it that spurs the focus on these specific diseases?
Our team are focusing at developing compound therapies for 80% of cancer. But we can do it all in parallel. We can do it all at the same time. So we have to basically sequence and prioritize where we focus our R&D team. The reason we started with neuroendocrine tumors and prostate cancer is because we found candidates tracer that works really well into those cancers. So there is nothing to do with the size of the market. There is nothing to do with actually the financials of the investment, but more that our preclinical team did found those small molecules that did work particularly well for those cancers. The team is now focusing on kidney cancer. The next one will probably be pancreatic cancer. So we will actually.
Pancreatic
so
cancer
they
has
keep
a very high mortality rate as well.
Absolutely. And so we keep searching, we keep investing in the research, in identifying the substance that will tie to the specific cancer, and each time we find one, then we develop it to the end and take it to market.
It's a very positive narrative, but how scalable is your program?
It is very scalable. It is very scalable, actually, from a cancer standpoint. We'll treat 80% of cancers. It's also scalable from a geographical standpoint. We launch it in the US, we roll it out in Europe, we roll it out in Asia, and then we start all over again. So it is very scalable.
Radiopharmaceuticals, they've been around for decades. So how different are things now? And why do you think that this is the right moment for nuclear medicine to make these crucial breakthroughs?
What we've been doing for years and years now at Curium is using a diagnostic radioisotope, being there to actually locate the cancer into the body. And when I say locate the cancer, we locate very small metastasis. And that's really the tough piece. When the cancer is just a primary cancer, that's easier to treat. When it's spread all over the body, then that becomes an issue.
Yeah,
and
several areas to treat, basically.
Tens of areas to treat. And so what we've been doing for years and years is actually put a diagnostic isotopes on the tracers to go and find the cancer. The revolution now comes from the fact that our research team switched those radioisotopes with slightly stronger isotope that are now able to kill the cancer cell. And so from a diagnostic type of actually technology, we move now into a diagnostic and a therapy industry technology, and therefore actually be able to treat cancer, which is a completely different ballgame.
Because that's obviously the question which a lot of people would say here, that, okay, you can fight a cancer if it's diagnosed early in its evolution, but it's when it metastasizes, when it spreads. So the message I'm getting from you is that, look, there is still hope because we are developing the technology.
Oh, there is more than hope, actually. This technology will work. And you really have to think about it as the cancer will spread, unfortunately. The cancer will spread all over the body. You can have people with tens of spots of cancer all over the body. The technology through the blood system will go find it and kill it where it is, with metastasis of less than 1 millimeter. So that's what the technology does. It is very exciting.
Absolutely.
It is very exciting for patients.
We know that Curium is also one of the few companies that actually controls both sides of the radiopharmaceutical process. In other words, from isotope production all the way through to drug delivery. Again, something I alluded to in the introduction. But how and why do you think you succeeded in managing this process, given that it's also very time sensitive?
So when we created Curium actually in 2015, we recruited a lot of actually scientists in the world, but also we acquired the best nuclear medicine companies in the world. So we have acquired tens of years of experience of dealing with radioactivity. And it's a very complex area. You have to produce isotopes with nuclear reactors, with cyclotrons, weird machines, You have to actually put it together with the tracers. You have to then ship radioactivity across the world every single day in the morning in 60 different countries, and then eventually inject it into patient. Only companies that are able to deal with all of that complexity around radioactivity will succeed into radioligand therapy. And then on top of that, you have to layer clinical development and preclinical development and regulatory affairs and commercialization and the rest of it. And only by integrating all of that, you will be succeeded actually into pulling radioligand therapy available for everyone in the world. And in that sense, there is only one company today that is fully integrated doing that, and that's Curium.
Curium's global HQ is based in Boston.
Yes.
Now that feels really strategic. So what do you see as the advantages from that location in terms of science, partnership, and of course, visibility? It can't get any better than being in the United States.
No, correct. And despite my very strong French accent, Curium is really a US company. I mean, it's a US company in the sense that in the pharma world, and especially into the radioligand therapy world, US is the #1 market. East Coast is the biggest concentration of scientific brain. Boston is the biggest concentration in the East Coast of scientific brain. And we are actually in the center of Boston, close to Cambridge, close to a lot of the biotechs. So
the academic hub.
The academic hub, you've got, Harvard over there, you've got the MIT over there. So it was very important actually to position the company as a true American company.
The nuclear medicine market is tipped to grow from $5 billion to over $35 billion by 2033. Now, I don't know whether that's accurate or whether it could be very conservative, who knows. But so many factors are driving this growth. But what have you identified as the key trends that can continue to shape that trajectory and drive it even further?
Cancer by cancer. We mentioned 35 billion market potential in 2035, because beyond 10 years, you need a crystal ball to basically understand what's going to happen there. It is far from being the end. I mean, this technology is probably and most probably going to be one of the dominating treatment of cancer for a while.
The bottom line is that the work that you do has a profound human impact. At the end of the day, cancer is a leveler. It doesn't care who it attacks. Sadly, we've run out of time, but Renaud Dehareng of Curium Pharma, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Juliette Foster, and you've been watching the European magazine Thought Leaders interview.